Hi, I'm gonna share the workshop that we did on Velebit from 29th of May till 31st of May. The whole idea of this workshop was related to the Earth group ili Grupa Zemlja on Croatian. And ideas that the group was sharing in their works. Also, part of this workshop was connected to a workshop that happened a couple of months previous to this one, and it was held in Hlebine. The thought that I actually borrowed, let's say, I will now share the screen, and I will just put the yes, the full screen. So the idea of this workshop was, as you can see here, the idea of paradise on earth. That is the idea that actually the naive artists from Hlebine used in their work, and also in the text that Josip and Maja wrote about this workshop in Hlebine. They mentioned this idea, and for me it was really important part how to somehow organize this workshop. The first thing that was actually given to students as an inspiration was the manifesto of Earth Group, and especially the three sentences.
I think well on top of it. We just knew this was going to happen. I just hope.
I hear somebody. Sorry. One was that one should live in the life of one's time, and that we need to create in the spirit of our own time, because art and life are one. So the students were supposed to figure out how can these sentences somehow be put to today's work, and especially their work. And the third, let's say, starting point was the mountain Velebit itself. And this idea of mountain Velebit as a sanctuary, and also as Maja beautifully wrote this part, was that Velebit is a place to which the modern lifestyle had so far failed to penetrate. Do you guys hear me? Because
yes.
You're completely frozen. Okay, probably you can hear me. So the works that the students did were sketches, and later on they did woodcuts. The woodcuts are something that the members of Grupa Zemlja did as well. Usually they were not actually making, they were not taking the motifs from the nature, but actually they were representing the works like labor work, people building buildings, doing manual jobs, working in fields. Not so much, but basically they were reflecting in their works the urban life. And for me, it was interesting to give the opportunity to the students to maybe make a direct opposite of what the guys from the Grupa Zemlja did, and just to put them in the nature, so take them from the city, put them in the nature, and try to play with this idea of paradise on earth, and implementing what they thought of how can they put their normal life, so the life of their time, and how can they put it in the place where it's sort of frozen, so the nature is still there and there is a complete absence of like super urban and contemporary life, and how can they create some works that could be relevant for them. So maybe, I don't know, Dorian, if you can hear me. Dorian?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, maybe you can start by explaining your work. I'm really sorry, I don't have the image of this specific motif that you've chosen, but I put Tatekova Koliba where we were on Velebit, so maybe you can tell us a bit more about what you did.
Actually, I have an image, if you want me to show it, of that exact specific monument that I tried to represent in linocut. I mean in woodcut. Sorry. Maybe I can show it later. I have a few of pictures that I snapped while we were there. So the main idea was, as the sentence said, or the quote said, art and life are one. And I think that this work by the sculptor Tatek, that was his name, let's say, his nickname, was a really good representation of that idea, because he literally lived on the mountain. I mean, he spent a lot of time there, and he really enjoyed exploring it, and he even marked a lot of paths that we were, walking through. And he even intervened. He even changed some nature-shaped forms by his hand. And my idea when I saw his work was, since Velebit is a really rough area, it's not forgiving if you go unprepared. And I think that his work there really gave me a sense of human touch, of human warmth, and an idea that even though I'm up there in the mountain, I'm not all alone, that the humans were there, even and I think that the work he did is really subtle. It complements the nature, it doesn't ruin it. So that's the main reason I chose the his sculpture as a motif of my woodcut. And that's it.
Thank you. So the next one is Luca. Luca, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us a bit more about your work? It's only one of the images that you used. You didn't use that image, but you used that motif.
Yes, you mean about the one on the screen? There were two of them.
About your woodcut.
Yes, but I chose the motive of Stop and of Zlatna Vrata, which means Golden Gate. And those motives are like phallocoid and vulvoid forms, which are interesting because of the statement of Grupa Zemlja. I don't remember the exact sentence, which but it was like that an artist has to get used to the situation in the time period in which he is. So I chose not, I mean, sexual motives like vulvoid and phallocoid motives are not my most motives in art. So I chose them because I think they are often in the art world. So I try to use motives that I don't use mostly. And yeah, I layer them one on another. The Stop, which is the photo on the screen, and the Golden Gate, which is like passage, stone passage, which remembers like a vulva. That's it.
Okay, so Josip, do you want to say something about it, or do you want to skip us?
No, very shortly. I use this motif from the dragon wing, and I recreated this structure of dragon wing into the woodcut. I mean, it's a very similar concept which I use also in the land art and in another media. That's it.
Thank you. So this is my work. I will try to keep it as simple as possible. It's actually the line of the horizon, and this specifically is the line of the stone Čučavac, where we went during the first day. I thought it was really specific, and it's a place like if you were there, probably from this one line you can recognize this place. The whole idea behind the line and this search for the horizon, or where it is the horizon, is the idea of connecting earth and skies, and the story about trying to reach something that is behind the horizon, or something that is really uncatchable. That would probably be it for now. And from that, I also made a video in which I try to constantly draw Velebit horizons, but the whole idea of this, it's drawing on silk, and while I'm drawing this silk is all the time, the paint is evaporating, and I'm all the time trying to somehow catch this line and keep it steady, but it's impossible to catch it. So the whole idea of chasing something that it cannot be solid. Clara, if you're here, maybe you can say something about your woodcut.
Yeah, I'm here. Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I usually use the motif of trees in my work, and I was thinking about Velebit as a mountain, and it has quite a lot of natural potential, but also exploited quite a lot of the time, especially in Croatia. In the area of Banovina, I saw these huge areas of cut down trees, so I kind of connected that feeling to the feeling of nature in general. So that's pretty much it. Quite brief, but yeah.
Thank you. And the last but not the least, Jelena Bogdanic. Jelena, can you tell us something about your work?
Okay, so I was not on your guys' road trip to Velebit, so I kind of reflected on my previous experience, and I saw it kind of as a pretty
Can anybody hear us? Everything
now
was
it's okay.
frozen.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Yeah.
Jelena, you can continue.
Okay, so I kind of made a hard contrast woodcut because I kind of saw it as it is, like dark, long and heavy path, but light and rewarding, and that's why the color of paper is orange, and it's a lot of blacks and a lot of light. I mean, it was like a heavy mess to walk there, and I tried to recreate it as I saw it.
Thank you. So I would say that here you can also see the parts which we are printing, and actually they are drying. We also chose the woodcut as a quite physically demanding technique. So it takes some power to cut out the wood, and also to print it out. We printed it completely manually without using any machines. So I thought it's also in a way connecting with this labor work in a way. And what also we did at the end is that we formed a graphic map, which is a work of a collective. So it's like several works put together, and they create one series of works. And although we each worked individually, at the end, all these motifs are just working together to collect this one piece of art. So that would probably be that. Here is where we were. We are all here. I hope you can see. And it's a memory of us working in the nature. It looks like we are doing nothing, but we are working.
Okay. So Mark, please, can you maybe give a small introduction to the idea of equinox and to your work?
Yes, could you repeat that?
Yeah, okay. So can you please give a small introduction to idea of equinox and also show us your work, your object in the nature of Ireland? And everybody knows that because of COVID, we couldn't realize your workshop in reality, let's say. So we were embodied in virtual reality and we were from the other side. So maybe you start with the idea, show your work, and then the student can show their response in land art media to your idea.
Okay. All right, share screen. So you can see that now? Yeah, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so I had a workshop in mind that I was going to do had I arrived in Croatia, but obviously due to COVID, I wasn't able to travel. So I had to create something in short notice that would have a sympathy with the space that you were going to, and also with the time of year. So you were traveling up the mountains just a couple of days prior to the autumn equinox, and you were going to be there for the turning of the equinox. So I thought that would be an interesting subject to focus on. And to give you some inspiration, I showed you some works of other land artists from the 20th century, such as Richard Long here, who did this walking a line in Peru. And I believe that is one of the Nazca lines that he basically just walked, you know, and took a photograph of it. Another source of potential inspiration might have been Nancy Holt's sun tunnels, which are out in the desert in Utah. And these are aligned with the equinoxes and the solstices. So I thought that was kind of a nice idea, and the idea of like capturing the sun as through an aperture to that, and being aware of the light and how it lands on the landscape during the mornings and in the evening times, you know, which is particularly interested in. And to complement that activity, then I was going to install a piece of the work that I was going to bring to you, that we were going to work on. It was a modular sculpture system that was made with a natural material that has been subsumed to a different context in that its natural form and look has been completely taken over by being laminated in plastic and in aluminium. And it's kind of this idea of like coating something and in an act of protection, but at the same time it's kind of usurping its function, its functionality, and it's kind of like this kind of idea of like of caretaking for a material, you know, and it's kind of an analog for how we care for the natural world, you know. So these are kind of ideas that I'm thinking about in relation to it. This is another image that I showed you as a potential inspirational point, and also Andy Goldsworthy. Oh, sorry, for the record, the last piece is Robert Smithson's Spiral Jetty in Salt Lake, which appears and disappears according to along with the tides, or not so much the tides, but the flows of the water table, because it's a lake, it's not tidal. But as it disappeared for a number of years after he made it, and then due to water shortages and the water level going down, it's more commonly visible now. And then the artist Andy Goldsworthy, who does these quite subtle interventions in nature using natural materials. So there's sorry. Okay, well, you can see he has a range of work that you can look up if you want to see it. Okay, so now I'll show you some of the works that I created with that modular system. It's kind of a geodesic type of structure. It's a bit mutated from that. It's not your classic geodesic dome or anything, but it's following that line of pentagonal and hexagonal joints to create triangular planes that interact and create structure. So if I could get this to go in the middle, then I could show you some of the installations. Now, I chose as a place to locate this work, a place called Loch Crew, which is a megalithic site about 5,000 years old, that aligns with the autumn and spring equinox with the sunrise. So as the sun rises, a light passes into a chamber that's aligned with it, and it lights up the depths of the passage grave. Right in underneath there, and that's the piece installed on top of it. Now, some more angles on it. The mound here is the passage grave itself, and the rising sun would be over this direction, so it's aligned in that trajectory. And I also installed this piece in a location just on the edge of Dublin. So I'll show it to you now. Okay, yeah. So the first one where it's on the water's edge, that was installed during the first lockdown, probably around April time, just in advance of when I was supposed to travel initially to Velebit, and then the following one was to align with your workshop, which took place in the over the equinox period. So it'd be nice if the participants would be able to show the works that they made in response to my promptings, if that's possible.
Yeah, please. Now, if you super. Now, please, Marta, you can start first and maybe show your work. Okay.
Can you repeat, Professor, please?
Okay.
Could you repeat, please, what you
said? I just want you to introduce your work, show maybe some photo, and tell something about your response to Mark's idea of equinox.
Okay, sure. So, right here I have some photos from each day that we did those interventions. So, do I talk about each one or just in connection to equinox?
Just as you like, as you like.
Okay, I can go through all of them if that's okay. So just okay. So this is the first day that we arrived at Velebit, and we each did only one intervention. And this one, I noticed the vines hanging from the branches at one tree that was there, and they looked really nice together. So I just kind of directioned them to go parallel to each other, and I thought that they looked really nice. We kind of thought that we should more so feel the ambience of the scene rather than going in with an exact idea, a predisposed idea. So this was my intervention at that one site. So the other day, the next day, we went to a few sites next to a river. So this is the first intervention that I did at a river. So I gathered some darker materials that were at the river, and I created a line that went across the river, parallel to the rocks that were there. So at this photo, you can't really see because the water washed away the line. But that was kind of the idea of the intervention, that even though that the line was there at one point, it would run out as nature took its toll. So another site at the river is this little waterfall that we came by. And I kind of just placed rocks along the side of water. And because I noticed that you can't really see in this photo, but rocks of a really light color were really contrasting the darker rocks in the river. So it looked really weird to me. It looked really man-made. So I just took that a step further and put those white rocks on the darker surface of the water. So that's the second day. And on the third day, we went to a smaller peak on Velebit, and we did interventions. These are the two that I did. I noticed that the pine trees at the top had really interesting branches. They were going straight out of the main body of the tree, and they were at a 90-degree angle. So I just placed some little rocks there to emphasize that characteristic of them. And the last one, which I think is the best out of all of them, is this one, which I placed kind of really thin rocks. I placed in the crevice on the peak, on the very peak, and I kind of balanced them on each other to create like a representation of the mountain range itself. So in this photo in particular, you can, or rather in this one, you can really see how the rocks here and the mountains are parallel. So it's like a mini Velebit, if you could say so. And on the last day, we did a one intervention together, which I'm sure you will see later. But to play with light a bit more, but on the day of the equinox there was no light really, and I chose to emphasize the materials that we had there. So each time I tried to find a specific material and I tried to vary those materials. So the first day it was a living branch. The next day it was dead organic material, and the remaining parts are rocks. So I just kind of tried to play with that a little bit. So that's it from me, I think.
Okay, and Ante, please, now you. Ante.
Hey, hello.
Marta, please. Okay, super.
I have to share the screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. So I did this. I painted with water, and yeah. Yes, that's it, I think. Good.
Thank you, Ante. Okay, but can you tell something about some statement about your work considering equinox, or you will just stay on the free interpretation? Okay, we see. Luca, please, now it's your turn.
Okay, so I'm on my mobile phone, so I think I can share my screen on the mobile phone also. I'll try it, just a second. Okay, no. Okay, I can only share the pictures like here on the Zoom. Is that possible?
Maybe someone else can share his work who's on
Does
the
anyone
computer.
else has here? If it's not a
Ante,
problem, I don't have my laptop here.
Okay, Ante, please. Ante, can you share Luca work?
I can share it here if you want.
Yeah. Oh, Mark, yeah. Okay, super,
Okay.
Mark. Okay.
I can share the screen.
Please, yeah. You have everything on WhatsApp group. Please, Mark, just share.
Yeah, I got it, yeah.
I really
Super.
apologize.
No, okay. Okay, that's you. Okay.
Yes.
So super. There we have some. Okay, go. Okay, this is Luca work. Okay, Luca, please tell us something.
Yes, this is my performance land art. I did it like I was inspired by that one thing that Maja said, that art shouldn't be invasive. So I tried to do like a natural object inside of nature. So I thought about it, and I thought that my body, a human, is also part of a nature. So when I did what I did was like I did like those stone installations, and then I noticed that I can be also a stone and like imitate the form of a stone and put other stones on my head, so it imitates the whole land art situation. So yeah, that was like about it. About the work.
I must have more here as well.
So yeah, this is
Yeah.
no. Please go back. Sorry.
The last one you showed.
No. Go back a little bit, Mark, please. The wheel, the thing which look like a wheel. That one. Yeah. Okay. Please look at this is your work. Yeah.
Yes. This one was inspired by the light, because the moment we came on that spot, there was lots of light, but when we started to work, the light was losing it. So yeah, my first idea was like to build a circle object inside of the water, which represents the symbol of the sun, like the circle, and in the right moment there should be light, like the sunlight should be inside of the circle, right? But yeah, at that moment it was kind of shady, so I couldn't get a good photo of it. But yeah, that was the idea. There are some other works. I don't know if there are some photos of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I should be able to find some more
We'll
here.
try to find them.
Okay, Mark. Okay, this is my work, but can you go? Okay, this is.
We have a whole set here.
Okay, please, this one, yeah.
Yes.
There's a few in a row here, so I can go through
This
them.
is where it all started. Like those are a series of photographs which Ante and me did. So the idea was just to imitate like the compositions of nature and to get like into the nature, like I'm part of it, what I should be, because humans are also animals. Trying to imitate the forms of in the nature forms.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Mark, can you go a little bit back now again?
Sure, yeah.
More. I will tell you more back. That one. No, please. This one. Yeah. No. Further. The one where you have a group. This one. Yeah. Perfect. Luca, thank you a lot.
No problems.
Okay. Just to finish. So, Mark, we wanted to do the collective response to your idea of equinox.
Yeah.
And on 22nd, it was, I think, 3 o'clock afternoon when there was an equinox. We done a kind of collective work. It was a big problem because there was no sun first, and second, there was a heavy rain. So already in the morning, we've been horribly wet, and I told to the student that this is an Irish curse, that we are cursed by the Irish weather because of the
very sunny in Ireland at that day.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You're gonna send the rain to Pesha. And then,
Factor 25, you know.
Yeah. So we've been very limited, and we decide to go uphill to the place which is more open, not in the forest, to have some light. And we kind of, our methodology was always to do the research in the nature, to collect the natural material and to see the structure of nature and to do the quick response in a way to collaborate with the nature. So on this plateau, we noticed there is a lot of bushes of sage. So there is a bushes of sage. So we decide just to frame collectively these bushes in a circle. And we took idea of the last harvest, because idea of equinox is also idea of the last harvest, not that one. This one, thank you. So the idea of the last harvest, which is symbolically the idea of equinox, because equinox and solstitium are generally connected with the natural rhythm. Okay, that's from me. You can switch off the share screen and we can go to the question. Okay.
Oh, is this one?
No. I mean, this is the day when we go back. In the afternoon, there was some light, yeah, but unfortunately not on the time of afternoon. Okay.
Ante had some interesting shots. They looked like a Caspar Friedrich on the mountain. Was that was that artwork, or was that intended as art, or is it a?
No. I mean, I took this photo.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Ante just stand as a model, and then at the end it was like Caspar David Friedrich. Yeah, I choose. This was the Ante and my collaboration. I noticed.
Great, yeah. It made the website, but it's not in the show downstairs because it didn't arrive in the materials you sent. But it's on our web, so that's good, you know.
Yeah, it's on the web. Yeah. So please, now we can. You can close the share screening.
Okay.
Yeah, please close it. And
wait, hang on, this one.
Yeah, this one, perfect. Yeah, Caspar David Friedrich. Yeah.
Yeah.
The famous one on the mountain. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So we can open
stop the share.
Yeah, super. We can open the question now about both workshop, so or conversation, however you like. So we have Maja workshop and Mark workshop. So please, we can start the conversation.
I actually have a question for Mark. Can you tell us more about the structure? Why did you choose that kind of structure, and what is it? What is its connection with this Neolithical site that you placed it upon?
Well, the piece is called Towards Super Connection, and it's this idea of like all parts being connected to each other at once, like in this kind of like hyper connectivity. It's also like a quantum state where every particle in the universe is connecting to every other particle, you know. So it's kind of it's a linear structure to make sense of that idea. And as the materials shows, and it's a bamboo. It's a fast-growing plant it can be used in building. It's often used as scaffolding in the Far East, and it's got a good tensile structure, and it's lightweight, right? So it's very portable. So it's the idea of having something that's quite portable that can be created in a short amount of time, and would be usable in a mountain situation, you know. So the mountain context was always at the back of my mind, because when I started making this work, it was in preparation for the workshop on Velebit. So that's where it started. And then the idea of laminating it's laminated in PVC, like a PVC tape. It's an agricultural tape that's used for wrapping silage. And then on top of that, it's in some instances, it's wrapped also in aluminium, in an aluminium foil. And that type of aluminium foil was developed as in the space program for wrapping components that have to survive cosmic dust and cosmic rays, such as like satellites and the like, you know. So it's kind of it's blending those two materials together. So it's kind of got a reference to space, it's reference to something like an intercession from outside. So I wanted this idea that it's something that could appear and disappear with relative speed, you know. So they're kind of some of the ideas behind it. And then in terms of Loch Crew, the selection of Loch Crew is because it coincides with the equinox, and the workshop is going to be happening around the equinox, and it's a very kind of remote sort of location in Ireland, you know. So that was the thinking behind that, and then to give a kind of a correlation between what you were doing in Croatia and Velebit, where I couldn't take part, and just kind of get a sense that yes, I have a connection between what I was doing here and what you were doing in Velebit. And I mean, previously I installed it in Portrane, which is just north of the city in Dublin. Like it's pretty much inside the Dublin region. Well, it is, yeah, it's inside Dublin County. So that was a location that I was able to take to whilst in lockdown, where you weren't allowed to travel outside the county, you know. And also it's kind of a remote part of the city that isn't built up as other parts, you know. So it's I was able to get shots where you couldn't see other houses, and I wanted that kind of sense of a remoteness, you know.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Comments, questions?
I also have a question for Mark, if I may. So I don't know if I understood correctly. You made those installations. Did you leave them there, or did you take them apart and then you made two, right? The one that you showed us on the coast. Okay.
Here it is. Here.
Okay, okay. So they are portable. Like okay.
Yes.
Great. So when the whole situation with COVID ends, you have to go to Velebit and install it there.
Single rods, you know.
Okay.
And then there was someone with aluminium.
Okay.
It's either they're bamboo.
So there are bamboo sticks that are wrapped in aluminium foil.
Yeah, first in PVC.
Okay.
This one, and then that one's also coated in. This one's also coated in aluminium. And the joints then were pipe. So it's a kind of a hydro pipe. Cut down, and then a join was made in the center. So the bamboo goes into each of these, and it's quite, you know, flexible. It's pretty strong, you know, but it's also quite flexible. So yeah, and as I say, portable and not too heavy. You know, if I was to do the same thing with steel, you wouldn't have the same connection with nature for a start, you know. But even if it was steel, it'd be very heavy. You know, very heavy.
Yeah, it would be impossible practically to get it there. And how did you make them in place so that the wind didn't move them, or do you understand what I'm asking? How did you? I'm missing the word.
No, I get you. Yeah.
Secure it probably.
Well, there are the films that I've shown you are it's quite stationary, but there are a couple of videos where I've shot it where it was kind of rolling in the wind, you know. So when it was at the top of the mound, I had it weighted, but in some places it was just a case that the wind had died down and I was able to shoot it for, you know, a couple of minutes, you know. But there are some quite nice ones where it's tumbling. So I've yet to use those, you know.
So did you have to catch it, like, or did it almost like run away? Yeah. Cool.
Run after it, like, quick. Yeah. But it's lightweight. It's not going to knock me over or anything, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
So it was me and a friend. We installed it there, and it was a two-person team, and in both cases, the first time I had somebody who was very au fait with video documenting, and he done a nice job with a Steadicam. Whereas on the mountain, it was just me and a phone.
Great, thank you a lot.
Thank you, Dorian.
I also have a question for Luca, if I may. I don't know if there's an order in which you are supposed to ask questions. Does somebody else want to ask a question maybe first?
Okay.
Okay. So how did you find the places that you were that you placed yourself in? I mean, like, did you just like walk around and then?
No, it was all by accident, actually. I mean, the last one in which I put the stones on my head, you know, it was like a place which we all chose together to make land art on. But the first ones were like me and Dante get away from others, and we were chilling on that one spot because we were thinking about bathing, you know, in the river. And I thought about, like,
yeah, man, I could be a stone, right? So yeah, we tried to do like different compositions in which my naked body would fit on some spots, like
Yes,
nature spots, you know.
because when I first saw the photos, it was like you fit so well in those places. Like you were made to be fit there. It's
I'm
kind of funny.
suitable, man.
Well, yeah. Anyways, amazing work. I really liked all of your works, all of your colleague works as well, because you all had different approaches, and I think it was really interesting from Ante, for example, when he was like drawing. I know he didn't say much about it, about his drawings with water, but I think it's also interesting because when you think about land art, you usually think about something that you can, some object that you can take to a place and then put it there. But he actually made a drawing, let's say, or a painting, which is not a three-dimensional piece. It's just like an illusion, which later evaporates. So I think it's an interesting concept. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the colleague. And Marta's work, of course. I'm sorry, Marta. I didn't meet you yet, but I think your work was also amazing because you really tried to, really tried to use every object that you can find in the nature, and the way you place them to be in a certain places. You were really particular about that. You were really careful and observant. So I think that was really good. So yeah, that's it from me. I won't say anything more. I talk too much. So thank you, guys.
So just to tell you a little bit about the methodology. So first we had Zoom all together with Mark. And then when we came on Velebit, Maja gave a theoretical introduction to media of land art. And then I explained to the student, I explained methodology. And the methodology was that always we had a kind of walk. It was not a walking art, but through the walk, we choose the place. So first day was the old village, Sklopina. Second day, we were walking near the river and we choose 3 places near the river. I choose and then people work on it. Then afternoon, we went to the top of the mountain to one hill. And the last day, we done collective work based on equinox. The methodology was very simple. When we come to the site, first we meditate. That was first. Second, we had a limited time, like 30 minutes to create. We had to use the natural material, like leaves, stone, branches. We have to respond to the natural structure. So anything decorative, anything descriptive was not allowed. Also, the invasive installation was not allowed. Somehow we have to respect the nature, respect the structure, and in a way to extend the natural structure into the media of land art.
Does anybody have another question or comment or anything?
I mean, maybe I have a small comment. I mean, it's very interesting at the end, the connection between Maja workshop and Mark workshop, because both work. Even my workshop was in completely different media. It was like in very traditional media of woodcut. But the similarity is that the first workshop, Maja, the student also respond to the nature. They respond to the natural rhythm. They respond to the structure. So very, very similar. Even if you compare Ante wet painting or a water painting on the rocks, it's very similar like the woodcut of Tatek snake of Dorian or a Luca work on this phallus. So, I mean, the interesting thing that in the both media, the media of land art and the media of woodcut, you have a very, very similar result.
But also, it was really surprising now. I only now figured that Ante's work, where he was drawing with water, is actually really similar as Maja Rožman's video, where there is also this notion of using water and of drawing that it's disappearing. So I don't. So it's something in the air. I don't know how to say it differently, because although you weren't on the same workshops, you had the same actually approach of this vanishing. As I see it, Maja's was this notion of horizon that is constantly disappearing, and Ante's was this ephemeral thing about land art. But it's really interesting to me how it's actually quite the same methodology. And actually I thought about how it's actually a pity that Ante didn't film it. I mean, he took photos, so they're like pictures, but if he did a video, it would be really, really similar to Maja's work. Yeah.
Okay. So anybody want to add anything? Okay, if not, thank you very much. We're gonna edit the video, and tomorrow the premiere on YouTube channel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for all your work. It was really great. And
Bye-bye.
hopefully we'll see you in Ireland sometime. Visit Pallas.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully you will come here.
I hope I'll meet you.
Here. Yeah.
In the real.
Yeah, in the real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.